A controversial new law has been signed in Missouri that allows residents to shoot and kill an intruder without fear of prosecution or lawsuits. Is this a common sense deterrent or legalization of vigilantism? Alan Gottlieb is the founder of the Second Amendment Foundation. Paul Helmke is the president of the Brady Campaign to Prevent Gun Violence.
Hello.
Gentlemen, thank you for joining me.
Pleasure to be here.
Paul, let me start with you. Governor Blunt said this law protects law-abiding citizens when they use force to defend themselves and their family. What's your concern?
We've always had the right to self-defense in this country. Every state has it, every jurisdiction has it, and I don't know of any individual who's ever been penalized unjustly because of using self-defense. In other words, this law is in effect a dangerous solution to a non-existent problem. We don't need to encourage more people shooting. States that have done this sort of thing end up with neighbors shooting neighbors, cab drivers shooting passengers. This isn't the right response.
And in fact, Alan, there was an old law under which deadly force was indeed justified, but only if people believed it necessary to protect themselves or others from death or serious injury. Is there, as Paul would suggest, a greater danger now under this new law of innocent people being shot?
Definitely not. You know, and Paul made the statement that he doesn't know any cases where people have been prosecuted or, for using self-defense. But that's just totally not true. At the Second Amendment Foundation, we've seen a number of cases where not only they get prosecuted, but like the Missouri law now helps you out. The criminal a lot of times sues civilly for damages against the homeowner. Now in Missouri, that's illegal as well. It's also illegal now in 19 total states, almost half the country. We're making a lot of progress. Paul's group has done everything he can to try and stop self-defense.
I don't pretend to be an expert on all of this, but I know that one of the sponsors of this, Senator Goodman, was asked that question, and he said no such lawsuit, as far as he knew, was ever filed in his part of the state. So I guess the question then people ask is, why was this needed? Maybe
in his part of the state, but around the United States, in all 50 states, we see a number of cases every year where a homeowner is sued by a criminal. Of course, they never win, but the legal fees alone can bankrupt the homeowner, makes him a victim a second time, and we don't think that's fair.
What about this whole question, Paul, that someone would be victimized yet a second time?
It's we've been trying to get the names of these people because I think it's really become an urban myth. Again, we know of no one that's been jailed because of this. We know of no one who's lost lawsuits because of this. And I don't really even know of anyone who's had any significant legal fees because of this. In situation, the way it works now is we have prosecuting attorneys and juries who make these decisions as to whether self-defense was justified. And if self-defense is justified, then the system works fine. What we're seeing with these kind of laws are like the situation in Florida, where the one neighbor complained that the other neighbor put out too many bags of trash. The other neighbor went up to the front door to talk about it. The guy pulled his gun and shot the neighbor because he felt that he was threatened. And with this new law, there is an absolute bar. All they have to say is, I reasonably felt threatened, and you can't even introduce any other evidence. We have judges, we have juries, we have prosecutors for the reason. We don't want the individual to be all three on his own.
Well, is it possible, though, Paul, that this will have a deterrent effect?
I think what this is going to do, it's going to encourage more people to shoot. In this country, we've got too many guns already. We've got too many dangerous people with access to guns, and encouraging people to shoot more often is not the right thing. The old law worked. Self-defense works. But telling a cabbie that he can shoot the drunk passenger that's trying to leave without paying because he feels threatened, that's not the right response. That's what happened in Florida.
Alan, could this have a deterrent effect?
It definitely has the deterrent effect. It's the right and fair thing to do. Of course, Paul feels that anybody having a gun is too many people having a gun, and that's part of the problem. We think criminals should not have guns, but we think law-abiding people should be able to protect themselves, have the right to do so. Paul's group has constantly opposed that.
I'm not anti-gun. We need to use common sense with guns. Encouraging people to shoot their neighbors when they just feel threatened is the wrong response.
Paul, Alan, important debate. Thanks to both of you.
Thank you.